Tensions over the halal food industry have erupted outside Australia's first festival aimed at promoting the food. Police had to step in and stop scuffles between those for and against.
The public voices of apologists for Islam display complete ignorance of Islamic hatred for the Jewish people, a hatred that has been a part of Islam ever since the Jews rejected Muhammad's religion 1400 years ago. Denial of this Islamic hatred requires ignoring the historical record and present-day reality of Islam. In the Middle East, leaders of entire nation-states vow to kill all the Jews and to drive the Jews into the sea. Had the Jews harbored the same hatred and ambition in regard to their neighbors, these Arab states would have been reduced to smoking ruins decades ago.
Bukhari 52:177. Allah's Apostle said, "The hour will not be established until you fight with the Jews, and the stone behind which a Jew will be hiding will say, 'O Muslim, there is a Jew behind me, so kill him.'"
Muhammad Amin al-Husseini was a controversial figure throughout his life. A man whose decisions fundamentally affected the lives of his people. At just 26, he rose to claim the title Grand Mufti, the spiritual and political leader of hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs. He is a character who, even now, polarizes opinion, particularly between Jews and Arabs. To many Jews, he is a man who collaborated with the Nazis and provides clear proof that all Arabs utterly despise them. He clearly supported the extermination of millions of Jews. In his own words, he said, "Kill the Jews wherever you find them. This pleases God, history, and religion." He even went as far as recruiting Muslims to form a special division of the dreaded SS.
Outside Australia's first Halal Food Expo, confrontation. Self-described opponents of racism tackle an anti-Islam rally. Police arrest one woman, later releasing her pending inquiries. Earlier, the anti-Islam protesters set out their objections.
We're opposed completely to ritual slaughter. Our set of values are completely different to Islam.
But of course is that you and I have been trying to make the case, I think, I have anyway, that liberals need to stand up for liberal principles. This is what I said on last week's show. Obviously I got a lot of hate for it, but all I'm saying is that liberal principles like freedom of speech, freedom to practice any religion you want without fear of violence, freedom to leave a religion, equality for women, equality for minorities, including homosexuals. These are liberal principles that liberals applaud for, but then when you say in the Muslim world this is what's lacking, then they get upset.
Yeah. Well, liberals have really failed on the topic of theocracy. They'll criticize white theocracy, they'll criticize Christians, they'll still get agitated over the abortion clinic bombing that happened in 1984. But when you want to talk about the treatment of women and homosexuals and free thinkers and public intellectuals in the Muslim world, I would argue that liberals have failed us.
Backers included a prominent AFL footballer, a well-known cooking show contestant, and local politicians and senior diplomats, pushing the message of food appreciation, tolerance and harmony.
Sam Harris sought to challenge the conventional wisdom, which holds that those Muslims who threaten us are a handful of extremists who've hijacked an otherwise peaceful religion. To the contrary, both he and Bill Maher argue those extremist views are much more widely held among Muslims than most of us have acknowledged. Well, I wanted to learn more. So this week I read Harris's 2004 book, The End of Faith, which has since been re-released in paperback. Harris argues with abundant citations that, quote, on almost every page the Quran instructs observant Muslims to despise non-believers. On almost every page, it prepares the ground for religious conflict. Consequently, he says that those who believe that the Quran and what it represents are going to be sympathetic to radical Islam, bin Ladenism, if you will. Some regard that as incendiary hyperbole, but some very strong polling data demands that we have the conversation about the teaching of Islam and its impact on followers. Consider this. The Washington Post published the results of a series of polls this week that asked Muslims questions about radical practices, and it's concerning. A 2013 Pew poll of 38,000 Muslims in 39 countries asked about honor killings, the practice of killing someone for bringing shame to the family or community. Take a look at the results. When the question asked is if honor killings are permissible, only 24% of people in Afghanistan said that honor killings are never justified, but 74% think an honor killing could be permissible. In Iraq, the number is 22% who say never justified, 71% believe an honor killing could be justified. How about when it comes to stoning adulterers to death? As the Washington Post data pointed out, the practice is supported by strong majorities of Muslim respondents in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the Palestinian territories. Another question, death for apostates? Majorities of Muslims in 6 countries say that if you leave the religion, you deserve to die. In Afghanistan, the number is 79% who believe that. Now, it's true that majorities of Muslims in Western countries do not share these extremist sentiments. But Harris's point was that we can no longer comfort ourselves in the belief that we're threatened by a handful of outliers.
If they're really serious about any issue in this country, they have to take the issue with friendly manner, with harmonious manner.
One major halal certifying agency says it's not here today because it doubts that all participants are in fact certified. Organisers say they've checked and they're confident that all stallholders are. Costly certification and where the money goes remain hot issues. Controversial politician Pauline Hanson told the Reclaim Australia rally this month that certification could have links to terrorist funding.
Alain Wagner is a French activist with the Alliance Against Sharia.
Islam is introducing Sharia in our society. And that's not clear for people. When you see halal food in shops and you say, oh, it's just a kind of food, no problem. No, it's a Sharia.
And experts say some of the proceeds from halal food indirectly support Islamic terrorism. When a French consumer buys halal food, part of the price paid goes as a fee to halal Islamic experts, some of which are certified by the UOIF, the Union of Islamic Organizations in France, which the Simon Wiesenthal Center says has strong ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, a political organization that supports terrorism.
Quran, Book 3, verse 151. Soon shall we cast terror into the hearts of the unbelievers, for that they joined companions with Allah, for which He had sent no authority. Quran, Book 8, verse 12. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. Therefore strike off their heads, and strike off every fingertip of them. Bukhari 52, 220. Allah's Apostle said, I have been made victorious with terror.